Hello and welcome to Rathod Science Academy. Today in this session we are going to see very important articles that appear in our today's Hindu newspaper. And most of the articles are related to economic survey. I'll be making separate videos related to this economic survey, but only very important topics that we are going to cover here apart from economic survey. Okay, let us see the topics of the day. The first topic it is about survey itself. In the front page of Hindu, there is one article. It is about survey predicts upbeat India, troubled world. So this article is saying that yes, India is doing well, even though we are having certain troubles in the world. This topic is important from economy point of view. Here you have to see why India is doing good in our economy, what are the major reasons behind it, and what are the troubles we can see in the world. And next topic is survey calls for tackling rising digital addiction, mental health problems. And this topic is important from governance point of view and as well as GS paper 3, and I will tell you how we can connect with the different dimensions here. Our next topic is from moon to MRIs, how space research has transformed healthcare. And this topic is one of the utmost important topic of the day. And if you read this article, you can gather lots of information, and that information is useful to write your mains answer and as well as your essay. And next topic is devolution, not debt. In your economy, you will come across this finance commission. And what this finance commission will do, it will go for devolution, and it will be giving you the directions like how much amount of the money should be given to the states by center, right? And this article is saying that yes, it is devolution but not the debt of the central government to give to the state governments. And here we are going to see what is the issue which is mainly faced by different state governments. And next topic is quick pill. Recently central government made certain relaxations to pharmaceutical companies. Because of this, there is a cause of concern that there may be compromise on quality of drugs. And this topic is important from governance point of view from GS paper 2. And next topic is, has health spending by the center increased or not? So this article is talking about how much amount of the GDP our government is spending on the health, and this topic is important from governance point of view. So these are the articles which are important that you can see in our today's newspaper. Yes, see this article guys, read out the title once again. Survey predicts upbeat India, troubled world. Okay, so here this article is talking about economic survey, the first thing. And next one is, it is talking about India's performance, and it is saying about what are the troubles we have in the world. There are three important things that you have to see. So here, what is this economic survey? Any idea? What is this economic survey? Okay. It is nothing but 1 year performance of our Indian economy. For example, can you tell me the chapters which are present in your economy subject? We have agriculture, we have industry, we have service sector, we have national income, we have taxes, next, poverty, unemployment, next, come on. That comes under national income, next. About investments, trade deficit, next, balance of payments. In all those things, whatever the each and every minute thing which is present in your syllabus regarding this, how India performed in last 1 year, it is given in this survey. Actually, our government of India will be releasing this economic survey, which will tell about our India's performance related to agriculture, India's performance related to industry, services, and how much we are borrowing from other countries, and how much debt we have, and how we are doing trade with other countries. Each and every details that we get in this economic survey, and this is considered as one of the authenticated book to collect data of last 1 year performance of your economy. And earlier, if you go back to like 3 to 4 years ago, we have two volumes, volume 1 and volume 2. And we consider that volume 1 is important from films and volume 2 is important from mains. But now we have only one book, economic survey. There is no different volumes. And if you have to write your economy related answers in your mains, And if you want to tackle the prelims based questions of your economy, this is one important source. The sources that you need to follow for your economy is, first one is your class notes. You have to understand the basic static things. And next one is budget. You know this budget, on every year, February 1st, our government will be introducing budget. In that, there is no need of reading entire budget, just budget speech. It will be around 60 to 62 pages. You have to see that budget speech. And third one is your economic survey. Okay, so here this economic survey is saying that India growth is very good despite of having troubles in the world. Now you guys tell me, what are the things that can substantiate that yes, India is at the good growth pace? What is the GDP prospects of recent number says 7.4. Who said it is 7.4? Our government of India, RBI, IMF, and even World Bank. Okay, so here we are having the good growth of GDP. Next, any other things that you can say that yes, India is doing good in economy? Come on, think. You can do it. You know this. Development related to what? Yes, India achieved fourth largest. India is the fourth largest economy now. Earlier, which is the fourth largest economy? Japan. We overthrown Japan and India occupied that place. Next, come on, think, you can do it. Fourth largest economy and GDP is good. Next, is it a good sign? Come on, Harsha, Kranti, Akash, Sagar. Yes, we achieved self-reliance in many areas. Next, self-reliance. Come on, think. Yes, we are focusing on de-dollarization. Okay, next. Okay, keep that aside and now tell me, troubled world. What are the troubles we are facing? 50% tariffs from US. Next. Come on, someone is saying about investments. Who is that? Foreign investments are? Okay, decreasing of foreign investments in India. Next. Yeah, you can write here deals. Trade deals with different countries. For example, India, European Union FTA, India, Netherlands FTA, India, Oman. It's like that you can take this trade deals. Okay, tell me about problems, geopolitics. Russian Sanction Act. Diversification of our oil is also bad. Next. Depreciation of rupee, very good. Next. Think. De-dollarization. Next. Think. Okay, carbon tax related things. Okay, next. Infrastructure issues. Okay, next. Investments, foreign investments. Next. Security and border issues. Okay. Okay, now let us see this article, what exactly it is saying. And even we are using AI more, machine learning more, there is also a challenge of increased unemployment because most of this work can be done by this AI in many cases. So there is also very high risk of unemployment in our country now. Okay, now let us see here. Economic survey tabled in Parliament, and it forecast our India's GDP growth for financial year, that is next financial 2026 to 2027, between this range of 6.8 to 7.2 percentage. Okay, it highlights about India's resilience for sustained growth. Especially, we took lots of policy reforms. Can you tell me examples of policy reforms we came up in India recently? GST 2.0, next. Uh, Demonetization in 2017, next. అది రీసెంట్ కాదు, నెక్స్ట్, దట్స్ వాట్ ఐఎమ్ సేయింగ్ ఇయర్. GST 2.0. Yes, implementation of labor codes, very good. Next. Promotion of? Okay, we are focusing on increasing of our exports. Next, we are coming up with good diplomacy and we are coming up with good deals with other countries. Next. Yeah, we are also focusing on semiconductors. Next. PLI scheme we are extending to different sectors. Next. Yes, privatization of atomic energy, for example, Shanti Act. Next. Okay, so we made lots of policy reforms and we are also focusing on infrastructure development. For example, we are coming up with this bullet trains. Actually, this project had been signed long ago, but we are taking lots of steps, and even high-speed rail projects in India, especially yesterday's class we discussed about Kerala's project, and even Vande Bharat Express. And next one, and we are also coming up with, do you know this tourism sites boost, for example, Prasad scheme, etc. So like that, we are focusing on improvement of infrastructure. And in the recently, like around 10 to 15 days ago, there was a news of extension of this Chardham project. What is this Chardham project is about? Char means four. Badrinath, Kedarnath, Gangotri, Yamnotri. There are four important shrines in this Himalayan regions, and we want to boost tourism in this area. For that, to improve infrastructure, to improve hotels, etc., we came up with this project called as Chardham, and we are further extending this Chardham project. Okay, so we are focusing on especially infrastructure development and even port development also happening at a very rampant pace in our country. And next one here is obviously why we are doing all this. India is having an advantage. What is that? Demographic dividend. What is this demographic dividend? It is about working age population. What is that working age population? What is that age exactly? 20? Not 20. 15 to? 64, 59, 65, 60, 45, 15 to 59. See this age clearly and remember that. So India is enjoying this demographic dividend. That means youth population is more in India, and actually this youth will be contributing for development of our country. And next one here is, this article is also saying that there is also a troubled world. That is what is happening in the other countries. Geopolitics is not favoring India. For example, if you take Pakistan, recently issue between India and Pakistan, Operation Sindoor, Pahalgam attack, and this one is recently bomb blast in this Delhi region. And next one is lots of conspiracies happening in India, right? And next one is, if you see Bangladesh and India, volatile situation. India and China, again volatile situation. India and Myanmar, again volatile situation. And not only that, recently US invited India to be part of Board of Peace, right? What is this Board of Peace is about? To establish peace in Gaza. But did India participated in that? India joined that? No. Why India didn't join that? What is the reason? Why India didn't join that Board of Peace? What do you think? Actually, now is it? It is like only US initiative, right? It is an US initiative, and US is giving invitation to around 60 countries to be part of that Board of Peace. Okay, here now US is saying that it is to solve this Gaza issue. In future, it may also extend to other issues, yes or no? Sometimes, if fate is not good of India, even Kashmir issue can be taken up by this Gaza peace board of this US in future, because US is funding a lot for Pakistan. Why not? This board of peace can also take this issue of Kashmir. That means is it going to be against India's interest or not? So here there is no clear cut objective of why they came up with this board of peace and whether they are going to extend this to other issues or not. So because of this, without knowing clearly, if India joined, that means what happens? It will be a blunder mistake in our India's foreign policy. So because of this, India didn't accept the invitation, and India is not part of that board of peace. So like that you have to see. And even if we are promoting this kind of groupings, means we have already international multilateral groupings are there. For example, we have United Nations Security Council. So this kind of groupings will also bypass already existed multilateral organizations like United Nations Security Council. It will be a threat for especially global south. That is the two major reasons why India is not part of this board of peace. Are you understanding? So if there is anything in the news, you have to see in detail why, how India is going to have disadvantage, how India is going to get advantage. So just understanding the facts is only not important, even you have to dig in deep. Okay, so that is the thing which mainly said. And you know about this geopolitical tensions. Israel-Gaza issue is going on, and Armenia-Azerbaijan issue is going on, Thailand-Cambodia issue is going on, Russia-Ukraine issue is going on. So all are these geopolitical tensions which are going on. Apart from that, even we have supply chain disruptions. What are the supply chain disruptions? What are the supply chain disruptions that we are facing? Only certain countries, they have very rich critical minerals. What about India's condition? India is lacking in that. For example, if you take West Asia is having very rich oil reserves. Do India have this? If you go to China, China has very rich rare earth metals and critical minerals. And if you go to South Korea, they are the leading producers of semiconductors. What about India? No. So if geopolitics is affecting geopolitics will be obviously affecting the relations between the countries. So because of this, always we'll be having this kind of global supply chain disruptions. And even we are having pressures of inflation. Why pressures of inflation? If you're cutting oil from Russia, with this from this Russia only, we are getting oil from the discounted price. If you're cutting that and if you're moving towards other countries, obviously we have to pay more. If you're paying more, what happens? Finally, the goods that we are producing will be the cost will be increased, and even the final price of diesel and petrol will be also increased. So we are under pressure of inflation in our country. And this one here is different countries are in trade war. For example, for example, US and China, and even US, Russia, like that. So because of this also, obviously it will be affecting all the countries. Why? Because now we are in this globalized era. What is globalization? Have you heard about this LPG reforms, liberalization, privatization, globalization? What is this globalization is about? One country is dependent on another country for the resources to satisfy the needs of the people, right? If something is happening in one country, obviously it will be affecting other country. I'll be giving a simple example. India's economy is known as primary agrarian economy, majorly focusing on agriculture. If farmers are doing protest, for example, which states are called as rice bowl of India? If something is happening wrong in these states, if farmers are doing protest, for example, if there is any disaster happen and there is no produced in that state, then what happens? Can we export this rice to other countries? Then what happens? These countries who depended on India's rice, and again they have to search for other alternatives. So like that, if something is happening wrong in one country, it will be going to affect other countries. Okay, so that is the thing which mainly said here. And this article is saying that India last year had recorded growth in manufacturing sector, in services, even in agriculture. In all these areas, we have positive trends. So because of this, the global forecast like WB, that is World Bank, and IMF, they said that yes, India's growth is high. It is around 7.2 percentage to 7.4 percentage. Okay, so here we have to see why India's growth is good apart from this global troubles is, first one is we have strong macroeconomic fundamentals, especially we had controlled inflation. What is the meaning of inflation and what is the target of inflation we have to maintain in our country? 4 plus or minus 2, that means 2 to 6 percentage, and actually inflation in India is less than this 2 percentage. That means who will maintain this inflation in our country? Only RBI. RBI through monetary policy controls inflation. Apart from that, we have central government under fiscal policy also, it will controls inflation. So here both RBI and central government are working together to control inflation in our country. And this one here is we have stable physical deficit and we are having investment also, especially in this FDI we are good, but FII or FPI we are lagging behind. Because of this, it is mainly shielding our India's economy and India's growth against global headwinds. And this one here is government came up with certain initiatives like Make in India and as well as Digital India, and even government is focusing on infrastructure push under schemes like PM Gati Shakti. Overall, that led to increased productivity of our economy and as well as development and sustainability in our economy. And as you know, India is enjoying this demographic dividend and India is having youth workforce. If you see other developed countries, what is the problem in other developed countries? Old age population. And even there is one report recently released by RBI says that by 2036, population of Kerala and Tamil Nadu are going to face this problem. Around 20 to 22 percentage of population of Kerala and Tamil Nadu, they are going to have old age population. So here, how can you get an interview question? Yes, India is enjoying demographic dividend, that everyone know. But if you compare the TFR, what is TFR? Total fertility rate between southern states and northern states. TFR is low in southern states. That means in future, southern states are going to face this demographic winter. How it is going to impact overall economy of our country? Are you understanding? So in this way, you'll be getting analytical based questions in interview. Answer should be short and crisp. And one more thing you have to remember is whenever you are answering this interview questions, you have to answer within 30 to 45 seconds. Okay, your answer should not be that much lengthy. Okay, so you have to think clearly and yeah, first question answer should be like 30 to 35, 45 seconds. Okay, so think in that way guys, how it is going to impact our Indian economy, in what way? Okay, next one here is, you know about this global troubles like Russia-Ukraine war, US-China trade tensions, and even climate-related disruptions. So we are facing global warming, and especially in different countries, extreme weather events are happening. Can you tell me extreme weather events are happening not only in India, outside India? Heat waves, yes. Cold waves, next. Volcanic eruptions, yes. Earthquakes. Heat dome. Have you heard about this heat dome? Recently, European countries faces heat dome. And next one is wildfires are increasing at a very faster pace. And even recently, wildfire is seen in Uttarakhand region in this Valley of Flowers. We discussed that, right? So here, what is happening because of this increased temperature? What is happening here? There is increased risk of wildfires, and not only that, there is increased sea level rise. Because of this, most of the small island nations in the Pacific Ocean, they are at verge of submergence. Okay, so because of this, what is happening? Again, it is having impact on over global economy, global GDP. Okay, and even because of this climate change, India is much more vulnerable because our India's rainy season is based on climate only, right? How can we attract this winds, monsoon winds? If the heat or if there is more heat we received on this tropic of Cancer, and if low pressure area is created on this area, then only we can attract. If because of climate change, what happens sometimes we can have good heat, sometimes we cannot. And even we have to take into consideration El Nino and La Nina phenomena, and so that you will be studying in your geography as well. Okay, and next one here is if you're getting good rainfall, obviously it will lead to a bumper crop. If there is no rainfall, it will lead to droughts and famines in India. And Indian history, if you see this British period at that time, India faced multiple famines, and especially Bengal famine, we cannot forget. That led to around 10 lakh people, they lost their life because of starvation. Okay, so here again, climate is also important. We can relate it to the economy as well. Okay, that is the thing, guys. And let us see the next article. Look at the title. Survey calls for tackling raising digital addiction, mental health problems. Are you also facing this problem? Oh, yes, ma'am. Okay, what is this article talking about? Digital addiction, mental health problems. What is the word digital addiction means? Addicted to mobile? Only mobile? Only social media? Only mobile, only social media. That is related to entire digital gadgets, not only mobiles, even your laptops, your systems, tablets, everything, whatever the digital device that you will use. If you got addicted to them, then that is called as digital device. So actually, humans are continuously evolving, right? If you are using this mobiles, which finger will you use more? Thumb. Thumb only, right? For scrolling of your screen, everything you'll use thumb. You can see like in around 50 years or around 70 years or the next two generations, we can see thumb will become long because of extensive use. You know this Darwin's theory, right? Darwin theory says that use and disuse. If you're using more, the size will be increased. If you're not using, the reduction will be happening. In these five fingers, which finger we use more? Thumb. So what happens slowly in this evolution of humans, the next generation humans will have longest finger, that will be thumb. Other than that, because we are using in that way, brain will not become big. It will degenerate because of this mental health problems. We are using more, but here because of this digital addiction, we are getting more and more health problems. Because of this more and more health problems, the degeneration of this brain will happen. It will not increase in size. Okay, see this article. This is saying that economic survey presented in Parliament flags the rapid rise of digital addiction, that is nothing but excessive or compulsive use of smartphones, social media, gaming, and some other online platforms, and that will associated with mental health problems that leads to public health and economic challenge in India. Now you guys tell me how this digital addiction is going to have impact on economy. What is the relation between these two? Online students, tell me in the comment box. Oh, come on. Once more question. Okay. How this digital addiction will have impact on economy? Uh, yes, creative capacity, innovation will be decreased. How this innovation and economy is related? Hmm. Come on, you're right. Tell me. Decreases the productivity of? Productivity of you whom? Youth or old age? Who will be using more digital gadgets? Youth only, right? Gen Z? Yes, you belongs to Gen Z or not? What is this Gen Z? 2000? 5, 7, 2000? After this 2012, which generation we will call them? Huh? Alpha? Okay, see that clearly. If you are hearing this Gen Z, Gen Alpha, Gen A, so you have to know exactly which age group belongs to this. You need to have that clarity. Okay, rather than giving something, you have to know exactly the reason behind it. Tell me, guys, how it is going to impact economy. I want to come back to my question. Tell me. Uh, uh, mm. Come on. Yes, because of loss of innovation. Do we can produce advanced equipments in our country? No. Then what do we have to do? We have to get from other countries. That means the dependency of our country on other developed countries will be further more increased. So that what happens? Economy loss. And even whatever the whoever the talented Gen Z are there now, do they wants to work in India? No, they will go to other countries. That will leads to brain drain. Yes or no? Yeah. So if you are from institute like IIM, or if you are toppers in your college, you will be getting one question in your interview that will be like, most of the toppers or talented people, they don't want to retain in India and they want to go to out of the country. Do that leads to brain drain or not? If you are you supporting this brain drain, or are you also belonging to this category? Or if you want, if you're one of your best friend who wants to go out of the country, how can you stop them? And next one is, if government has to retain this talent pool in our country, what kind of measures government of India can take? Are you understanding? Is that good? If the talent is going out of the country, they will serve to other country and they will make innovation there, and we are simply buying that innovation. Yes or no? Understanding is that it is not at all good for our country. And actually government of India is investing a lot in higher education. It will be providing lots of investments in IITs and IIMs after completion of graduation there. So many people are like wants to get placements out of the country and they want to earn more. Is that right? Normal in Telugu, will have once famous saying, తిన్నింటి తిండి తిని తన్నిపోతాడు, like that. Have you heard this? Government is investing on them, but apart from doing service or innovation to India, they are contributing to other countries. Is that right? తిన్నింటి వాసాలకి పెడతారు, something will be there in the same way. I can't recall that same line. Is that right? Then how can you ensure? Because you are going to be the bureaucrats. Are understanding? So in this way, you have to think in deep and you have to develop your own ideas. Okay, so here this article is saying that digital addiction. So on this digital addiction, you may get a question because directly economic survey highlighted this digital addiction. So how can you get a question is, recently digital addiction is seen in news. What exactly it defines? And they'll give you ABCD options, directly ABCD options only, and you have to select one. Here digital addiction is nothing but it is defined as persistent, excessive or compulsive engagement with digital devices or online activities that leads to psychological distress, functional impairment and reduced well-being. So overall what happens? There will be increasing of mental health issues. Whenever there is increasing of mental health issues, there will be furthermore increased spending of the government. That will be again burden for the government. The government has to establish now again rehabilitation centers. Yes or no? Government has to give certain health facilities. We need to get some infrastructure, everything. So that will lead to overall spending of our government once again. And it is closely related to the worsening of mental health among the youth. So if youth are becoming mental, pagal or whatever it may be, will they contribute to our economy? No, for sure. That will lead to the increasing of anxiety, depression, low self-esteem, and even sleep disturbances. You know about this insomnia. We cannot get sleep even after being on the bed for 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, insufficient sleep like that. And even that will lead to stress, etc. And that will lead to overall academic performance will be very, very poor, and productivity will be very low, and economic opportunities also they cannot get. They will be not getting employment opportunities. And because of this, what happens? In future also, they will become dependent on the family, on the government, but there is no use for the government or economy. So what are the recommendations you are giving? The first one here is structured programs. You may get a question in this way. Recently, economic survey highlighted that youth are facing a problem of digital addiction. What kind of measures you can suggest in interview? Okay, or else you may get directly a means based question. First one is structured programs. We need to have cyber safety education right from schools, because nowadays even LKG UKG people, they have their own social media accounts. Do you know this? Especially students from this ICSE and international curriculum like that, their culture is entirely different. Even we cannot talk with them. Yeah, I have that experience. Just I'm talking to a third class child from ICSE, and even I can't able to talk with them. Like they are far more advanced related to the culture, the way of style, the way of talking, the way of understanding. Everything is like different. So right from the school itself, we have to inculcate this cyber safety education, and even we need to have mentor initiatives in every area. In every school, we need to have a uh, separate team who has to deal with this kind of things. And this one is, we need to have mandatory physical activity rather than using the mobile phones. Actually, what has happened in the trend, if you compare with our generation and your generation, when we were going to school at that time, after coming to the home, we used to have our uh, what we say, gully cricket wala batch, or gully caroms, gully girls. Especially, we used to have our own group of people, tokkud villa like that. And after once coming back from the school, we used to have at least 1 to 2 hours of physical activity. We used to play a lot. But now, what the students are doing after coming back to the back to the home, especially they'll throw the bag like this, and even without removing and without becoming fresh, they will open the phone and they'll start playing this. Yes or no? Is that right or not? So here we have to encourage mandatory physical activity for the children, that to outside the home. That means government, what it can do, it can create more and more parks, especially in urban areas. We used to have, like, in one area, in one colony, we have one public park. So we have to increase the green spaces and parks. And this one is, we need to go for training for the parents related to the screen time management only in this time. For example, if you take China, if you take Japan, government came up with this screen time management related rules strictly. That means only this age group has to use social media or the screen for only 60 minutes or like 45 minutes in a day, like that. In the same way, we can also come up with this screen time management. In our country, government cannot implement this because of wide diversity, but even though, at least parents, they can take this initiative and they can limit the screen time. And next one here is, we need to go for age appropriate digital access policies. For example, age based limits, verification of social media or gambling apps. And this one here is, whatever the platforms which are used by the people, the platforms need to take accountability related to harmful content and age appropriate defaults, so that we can reduce fully on this online things. And next one here is, we need to go for network level safeguards, especially differentiated data plans. What are the data plans that we'll use now? What is the amount that you'll pay for your data? How much amount? 899 for Geo? Geo, tell me for Geo. Per month 399 for Airtel. For 5G, everyone is using 5G only, no? 350 per month. So here, whenever we are having this different data plans, we need to have differentiated. Especially for recreational purpose, we have to increase the data plan, and for educational purpose, it should be less. Like that, we can have differentiated data plans. After once this differentiated data plans are came up by the different companies, and they need to have the proper scrutiny whether they are using for that or not. And next one here is, we have to go for expansion of healthcare. We can extend Telemanas. Telemanas is nothing but the national tele mental health programs. It is mainly focusing on digital addiction itself. We have to expand that. Many of you might not be knowing about this Telemanas, right? So we have to go for awareness of this Telemanas. And this one here is, we have to promote digital hygiene and as well as family screen time limits, device free hours, online activities, everything. We need to have a balanced thing so that we can address this problem at the ground root level. Clear? Your main question will be on this topic today. Okay, see this next article, guys. From moon to MRIs, how space research has transformed healthcare. This article is talking about advancements in science and technology. Can you tell me some advancements in the healthcare? Mm. What are these MRIs? What is the full form of MRIs? Magnetic resonance, I for imaging, right? So what we'll do in this MRI? Have you ever had experience of MRI? Anyone? Uh, have you seen, at least in movies, they'll place the patient to be lie down, and that instrument will go inside one round color, sorry, round thing, which will be like white color normally. And what happens? They will switch on the things, and what happens? So actually, what they'll send magnetic rays, and they will identify exactly how the things are going on. That is about your MRI. So here this article is it is talking about we are having good advancements in our country, and because of this good advancements, we are doing good from space research, and we transformed our healthcare a lot in our country. Because of this, India is very good at medical tourism. Yes. What is this medical tourism is about? Have you heard this medical tourism? Huh? Medical tourism. Best medical treatments available in India so that we are attracting other country people. Okay. Is that only best medical treatment we are providing for which we are attracting other country people, or any other reasons? Only best medical treatment, that's it. Then what is very important in healthcare? Tablets. Is the tablets is only enough? What is more important? Come on, think. What is more important? Empathy. Empathy is very important. Yes, if you go to other countries, do we get empathy as you get in India? Ayyo papam, tagipotundi, don't worry, take care. So like that kind of things will not be available any part of the world except in India. The first reason here is we are having advancements, and those advancements are as par with developed countries. That is the first reason. And second one is empathy. So whenever we are serving our patients, many a times, even what happens here is we have neurosurgeons, we have very high qualified surgeons. Sometimes they will only do the stitches after the surgery, and they will only tie this all these things, bandage everything. But that will be not there in any other country. That is the only exceptionally seen in India. And next one here is, if you go to, have you been to any government hospital? So here, yesterday I visited NIMS hospital, yesterday evening. In that NIMS hospital, there is emergency block. Before that, we have visitors place. So like that, there will be no visitor space in any other country like India. So that what happens, if other country people are coming here, they can stay here in this visitors thing. And especially in certain hospitals, they are also allotting this kind of lodging facilities also for international visitors or international patients. That is a one more important reason why India is very good at medical tourism. And next one is India is the hub of pharmaceutical sector. So these are the four important reasons that led to the growth of medical tourism in India. If you search anywhere in Google also, you will not get these points, because this is a question which asked in one of interview recently to a medical practitioner, why India is good at tourism. They said only like we have world class infrastructure. That is the only point they had been stuck down. But these other points, which are given by one of the panelists based on his experience, and that same experience I had yesterday with NIMS hospital. So those are the things. So here observation is also very important to answer such kind of questions. Okay, clear? So here if you see this article is saying that India is doing very good in this health sector. Especially we have good ultrasounds. You know the scanning machines? Ultrasounds are nothing but scanning machines. We have CT scans, we have MRIs, and we have mammography. So actually these are very important to diagnose any disease. If you're not having proper diagnostic tools, we cannot analyze which disease is that. And India is having good world-class infrastructure. And next, they said that Yes, we have good commonplace wearables. Nowadays, we are having even certain apps in your mobile phones which will access your heart rate, BP, etc. And even we have certain wearables. Do you know these wearables? Watches like things that is also available in our country, which are monitoring your heart rate, ECG, respiration movement, etc. And not only that, we have air and water purification systems so that we can have proper microbial monitoring and sterilization. Especially in the hospitals, we need to keep environment which is sterilized, especially our operation theaters. Will everyone will be allowed into this operation theaters? No, if you have to go into these theaters also, you need to wear special kind of equipments, and you have to wash your hands, and you have to wear certain kinds of gloves, and you cannot go with your barefoot or like your chappals. Everything will be not allowed. It is a very strictly prohibited area. Why? Because they have to maintain, because if they are cutting the things, cutting the body, and if they are doing operation, if that area is entirely unsanitized, means what happened, there will be high chances of infection, right? So they have to maintain that area. And India is having HEPA is nothing but a highly advanced equipment which will be focusing on making the things very very clear and very very sanitized and sterilized. That kind of things also which are present in our country. And even we have satellite based telecommunication consultations in rural areas, etc. And even we are using the satellite communication for disaster management and teleradiology, which is supporting health of astronauts as well. So in this way, India did lots of advancement in health sector. And even we are focusing on global disease surveillance, epidemiological mapping. Okay, and we are also saying about disaster impact on health system. And even we have solar powered vaccine refrigerators. Okay, I suddenly remembered one point. One of the student who came for interview, he had an experience of making solar air dryers. Do you know the solar dryers? Normally we are using air fryers, and nowadays sun dried fruits are becoming very famous, like sun dried kiwi, sun dried pineapple, apricots. Illa, no idea. At least go to nearby supermarkets, you can see all those things. So actually he had an experience of making the sun dryer. Okay, and the question was like how the sun dryers are going to help India to mitigate food waste, because in India the major problem is food production is also high and wastage is also very high. But how can we use this kind of indigenous technology to improve food management? So here India is also famous for having this solar powered things. We can make solar powered dryers, we can make solar powered vaccine refrigerators. So what happens, actually vaccines are to be stored in a very low temperature, and that is a major problem that we face during this COVID-19 pandemic. So now we have this technology so that we can use the solar power, and we can manage this vaccine refrigerators. So that now what are the challenges we faced during this COVID-19 period, which had been overcome with this kind of technology. Are you understanding? So in this way, we are making lots of advancements in our fields. So just see this healthcare applications, guys. That's it, nothing more than that. And see this next article. Title says devolution, not debt. So what is this devolution of taxes is about? We have horizontal devolution, we have vertical devolution. What is this horizontal and vertical devolution of taxes is about? Horizontal means, do you know horizontal like this? Vertical means like this. In this horizontal, we can take different states. State 1, state 2, state 3, state 4, state 5. Vertical means we have central government, state government, and local government. So whenever you're talking about devolution of taxes, it is about whatever the taxes collected by this central government has to be given to states. In the states also, how many states do we have in India? Again, confusion. How many states do we have? 28 or 29? Ah, very good. How many UTs? ఇది ఒక పెద్ద డౌట్ 5 6 7 8 9 చెక్ వన్స్ మాట్లాడితే బాగుండదు. బట్ ఇఫ్ యూఆర్ ప్రిపేరింగ్ ఫర్ యూపీఎస్సీ ఎన్ని స్టేట్స్ ఎన్ని యూటీస్ అని తెలియకపోతే I'm not asking something facts, percentage. It is a basic thing, no? Okay, so tell me here, do these states are equally developed? All the states? For example, certain states are having good infrastructure. Some states are lacking this. Some states are having good indicators like health, education. Some are lacking this. In some states, TFR is low. In some states, TFR is very high. In some states, manufacturing is good. In some states, agriculture is good. So because of this, there are different criteria based on which how much amount of the devolution of taxes will be received by the states. Okay, now problem here is one criteria is population is one criteria. You may get one question in this way. Listen carefully. Recently, RBI gave up with a report which says that Kerala and Tamil Nadu population is going to be get old by 2036. Around 22% of people will be like old age. So here in this tax devolution, one of the indicator is population. That means if old age population is increasing, means young age population will be obviously decrease. That means that will leads to population stagnation. That means more populated states will get more amount, less populated states will get less amount. So do this report is going to affect tax devolution in future? Then will these states be silent? They will do some protest. So as an administrator, how can you deal with this kind of situations? So what is the suggestions that you can give to Finance Commission to overcome this kind of problems? Are you understanding? Okay, and next one here is again population. I talked here. So do you know about delimitation? Delimitation is nothing but drawing of boundaries of constituency. What is the idea we are following there? Each constituency need to have same population. North TFR is more, South TFR is less. In future, in which area more population? North. South less population. That means, do you think in future you are going to have more constituencies in North? Then is it going to affect our political structure of our country? How can we address this challenge? Are you understanding? So if delimitation, population, number of constituencies, MLAs, MPs number, representation in Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. So here in future, there is a chance of no voice will be represented or less voice will be represented by the South in Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. Do it undermine the development or not? Are you understanding? So in this way, in that depth, you have to study. I'm not telling all this to time pass here. I want to develop certain kind of skills so that you can understand and you can think in that way. Or else interview will be gone, guys. For sure. Are you understanding? Are the questions are typical or not? Are they analytical questions or are they simple to answer? So whatever you answer you give, they will not satisfy at all. So if you want to satisfy them, you need to have in-depth understanding and clear communication skills. And while you are answering also, they will interrupt you and they will ask you one more supplementary question. You have to be very much careful. They are like 5 bureaucrats of not our generation, earlier generation, and try to talk with elderly people and try to get some insights like how those people are thinking. In that way only we have to convince them. If you are talking to your friends or your younger generation, it is easy to convince. But earlier people, because of generation gap, there's a lots of differences between you and them. To try to overcome that and try to talk with your elderly people and try to know exactly how the way of thinking was. Okay, now let us see this article. So this article is saying that nowadays, especially states are getting less tax devolution. Why this less tax devolution? Central government will be collecting cess and surcharge. What is a cess and surcharge? Have you heard these words? What is cess and surcharge? Come on, tell me. It's already 54 minutes. Tax on tax. What is difference between cess and surcharge? Cess is used for particular purpose. Swachh Bharat says, Krishi Kalyan says, education says. Only for that purpose only they will use that. But what is surcharge? They will collect tax on tax, but they will not say for what they will use. The problem here is cess and surcharge will not be transferred from central government to state government under this devolution of taxes. So because of this, what happens? Many a time states will be getting less amount of money. And even we have certain criteria like forest cover, like population, like development indicators. Based on that, northern states will be getting more amount of money compared to the southern states. That is also one cause of concern. So here this article is saying that we have to include this cess and surcharges also under this devolution of taxes. I am saying this devolution of taxes, but who will recommend how much amount of percentage should be given by the center states? Which commission is that? Finance Commission. Which article is talking about this Finance Commission? 280. Okay. So what is the percentage should be given? What is the percentage recommended by Finance Commission? Earlier we have 15th Finance Commission, and this 15th Finance Commission said that central government has to share 41% of the pool to the states. And here you have to see about Finance Commission, because this year we are going to have 16th Finance Commission. So you may expect a prelims based question related to Finance Commission this year in prelims. Clear? That is the thing which mainly said, guys. If the states are getting less amount, that will lead to increasing of states debt, and will also leads to the incentives, and next one it will leads to increasing of borrowing of states. That's the thing, guys. And see this next article, look at the title. Removal of some pharma regulations should not come at cost of quality. So what are the concerns related to this pharmaceutical sectors in the recent days? We discussed one major incident in MP, Rajasthan, loss of life of, yes, due to cough syrup. Many children, more than 200 children in Rajasthan, MP had been died. It is not only issue in India, because India is exporter of the same to other countries, especially in African countries also. Lots of cases related to this cough syrup had been diluted. What is the reason? I said about one chemical, glycol, glycerin, glycerin that will disintegrated into glycol actually. So what happens here is, if you see certain medicines, they will give clear-cut indication that should not be exposed to sunlight, should be stored in dry place, dry and cool place. So if you're not following that standard, what happened? What are the ingredients we are mixing in that? That will undertake chemical reactions that will lead to contamination. And if you're consuming that, have you ever seen, if you're keeping certain bottles in the sunlight also, the color will be shaded. And sometimes what happens, different layers you can see in that. Some medicines they will say that shake before well. Shake well before use, shake well, like that. Okay, so here this is the issue here. The issue here is, now recently government came up with removal of certain regulations for pharmaceutical industries. So here, because of this removal of certain things for pharmaceutical industries, there is a problem of quality issues can appear. That is the thing. So let us see what are those things. So recently government made amendments to new drugs and clinical trial rules 2019. It is related to clinical trials. What are these clinical trials? Phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, phase 4. Have you heard about this? No idea. During COVID-19 time, phase 1, phase 2, no? So if you want to make any drug, yes, after making of that drug, we have to know about whether it is functioning or not, efficiency or not. So for that, we will have certain clinical trials. In that, we have the 4 phases: phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, and phase 4. So phase 1 is, they'll take large number of people and they will test on them. So like that, they will do 3 times. And after that, what happens? They will do detailed analysis like efficiency, benefits, side effects, adverse drug reactions, everything. And after that, what they'll do is, they will release the medicine into the market. After once they release a medicine into market, how it is working in the general public, they will do in this phase 4 studies. So related to this clinical trials and new drugs, government came up with certain recent amendments. And in these amendments, they are eliminating mandatory test license for manufacturing small quantities of drugs intended for non-commercial research, testing and analysis. For non-commercial research testing, so now government removed this mandatory licensing for manufacturing of small quantities of the drugs. So because of this, now it is a problem. So rather than going for taking mandatory licensing, they said that they can give just intimation to the government. So which organization will be focusing on safety of drugs in India? That is CDSCO, that is Central Drug Standard Control Organization. So they came up with one portal called as Sugam portal. In that Sugam portal, these companies can go for just giving intimation, prior intimation under this Sugam portal. So this time lots of questions related to this, lots of articles related to this drug safety is there in news, no? So you may get a question regarding CDSCO. You have to know certain basic facts, when it was formed, what were the objectives and what it is role and functions, because there is a very high chance related to this. Okay, now here under the Sugam portal, nowadays if they want to go for manufacturing of small quantities of drugs just for non-commercial use, they can go for just giving just prior intimation under this Sugam portal. Okay, that is a thing. Now it is in news. So here this article is saying that why this kind of changes government came up is to reduce regulatory hurdles in pharmaceutical sector. And India is doing very good in pharmaceutical sector. We have to attract more investments and we have to promote ease of doing business, and we have to strengthen drug development timelines in our country. That is the reason the government of India set. But this article is saying that it may also leads to some cause of concerns. The cost of quality can be compromised, and it may also lead to further deaths, because recently we experienced one incident of death of more than 200 children in this Rajasthan MP regions. Okay, so but we are having certain positive impacts. Positive or nothing but faster drug development can happen, and we can save money, lives, so that we can reduce the time. And next one here is we can ensure paperless system so that we can reduce administrative burdens, and we can allow researchers to focus on innovation rather than paperwork. Okay, that is the thing is. And there is one article, look at the title. Has health spending in central increased or not? Okay, public spending in health is important or not to you? Why it is important? Because health is a sector which can make the family to get into this trap of poverty. Why? Because health, no one will compromise on health, right? So if the situation is dying situation also, at that time if they had any hope of 1% also, what they'll do, they'll bring money, whatever it may be, and they will try to invest in the health sector. So if government is providing top notch healthcare, then what happens? We can overcome this problem of poverty in our country. Actually this article is saying that public spending on health is very very important, but when we are comparing with other countries, whatever the percentage which is spending by India is very very low. It is absolutely very low compared to that of other countries. Here if you see how much India is spending is around 1.5 1.15 to 2.5 percentage of GDP that we are spending. But if you see other countries, they'll spend more than 5 percentage of GDP. Okay, and here if you see this article, it is saying that, and even related to the health also, government started imposing cess. The name of that cess is health and education cess. But even though there is no increasing of outcome related to this health in India, and here you have to see about what can be done. So here this article said about the schemes which are related to this health sector in India. We have Ayushman Bharat, we have National Health Mission, we have Pradhan Mantri Swasthya Suraksha Yojana. So here apart from this, what can be done, you have to think in, you have to make the notes of schemes related to health sector in our country, and you have to see like how much amount of spending is done by China, US and Japan, at least 4 to 5 countries, developed countries, so that you will be having the data of comparing of India's health expenditure spending with other countries. Okay, now let us see the prelims question. So today's prelims questions are random. I didn't take from the today's current affairs because it was already late. See the questions. First one is with reference to fundamental rights in Indian Constitution. Consider the following statements. First one is right to property was removed as a fundamental right by 44th Constitutional Amendment Act. Next one is Article 21 guarantees the right to life and personal liberty, which includes right to privacy as interpreted by Supreme Court. Next, fundamental rights are available only to citizens and not to foreigners. So tell me which are the fundamental rights available to foreigners also. Mm. 20? Tell me which are the articles applicable only to Indians. Mm. Very good. Good clarity. I said already in one of our class, line numbers. Think about this. Honest students, tell me only the fundamental rights which are applicable to Indians. If you are like this, how can you write prelims? Everything should be on your fingertips. Come on. Sudden గా అడితే కన్ఫ్యూజన్ ఏంటి ఎగ్జామ్ Okay, so here what is the answer? Neha, answer. This third one is absolutely right or wrong? Wrong. If you remove this 3, A and B. What about 21? Article 21. Article 21, right or wrong? Which case is that? Shah. Supreme Court case name. Right to privacy case name. Option B is right, but I'm asking about which Supreme Court case said Article 21 includes right to privacy. Right to privacy is a part of Article 21. K.S. Puttaswamy case of 2017. Very good. Quality. Yesterday or day before yesterday only you wrote exam, no? Quality, part 1. Namo Narayana. Okay, next see this. Consider the following statements regarding the Reserve Bank of India. The RBI was nationalized in 1949. It acts as the banker to the Government of India under Section 20 of RBI Act 1934. The Monetary Policy Committee is solely responsible for determining the repo rate. So tell me the answer. That's all guys. Thank you so much for watching and please do like this class and share this class and do follow our current affairs regularly so that you can get lots of insights how to prepare in your UPSC without wasting much time and as well as by taking more number of attempts. Thank you so much guys. And one more thing is we are going to start new batch for GS prelims cum mains foundation course and we are providing both on online and offline. And if you want to visit our academy is located in Ashok Nagar exactly above Vikas Book Center and I'm available in our academy. You can come and you can talk to me directly guys. And if you have any queries, if you want to talk to us on call, you can call us on this number 8074765513. Thank you so much guys.